it's Keisha, and I am here to give you some helpful tips while traveling this holiday season. So yeah, we're gonna get to it. I'm not gonna keep you guys too long, so let's get started. If you plan on flying this holiday season, there are a few things that you may want to keep in mind just to make your trip a lot more smoother, because it does get crazy in the airports around the holidays. So my first thing would be to make sure you book everything in a timely fashion. If you are traveling by yourself, then it may not be a big deal to wait till the last minute to book a flight, but obviously if you're traveling with a companion or family members, a group of people, whatever it may be, you want to make sure that you book ahead of time. Be prepared. According to a few websites that I looked at, Tuesdays and Fridays are the best days to book for air travel. Also, the day of your flight, make sure you arrive early. It's always better to be early than to be right on time, or at least what you think is to be the right time to get there. Yeah, there's always the case that your flight may be delayed, but I'd much rather you be there at the airport early than to get there too late and almost miss a flight. Believe me, that's happened to me before, where I almost missed the flight because I was trying to get there right on time, and yeah, it was a pretty weird situation and very nerve-wracking. So yeah, I would encourage you to be early. Make sure you wear comfy attire when flying. It just makes more sense to do it that way. I mean, you never know, your flight may be delayed. You may have to hang out in the airport for a while. You also need to be comfortable going through security. And then of course on the plane, you want to be comfortable as well. But also remember not to wear a lot of, accessories and stuff like that, things that you may forget that you've taken off and then you may leave on the plane. So just be smart, be comfortable, but don't go overboard with your attire. Just be comfortable while flying. My other tip is to plan for additional items when returning. This is a big thing around the holidays, especially, is you want to make sure that you have room in your suitcase for possible gifts that you may get while away. So think about the fact that you may, you may end up with a lot more stuff than you initially packed. So consider making room in your luggage for additional items. Also consider bringing an additional luggage with you just for gifts and things like that. Or if you go shopping and you buy things while you're away, just plan for stuff like that. You can also consider mailing this stuff to yourself, which can be tricky around the holidays, of course, because places like the post office and stuff aren't open necessarily. So you have to think about that, but you can always ship things to yourself from wherever you're at. So my other tip is to make sure your devices are charged. This is mainly for the airport and of course when you're on the plane. Just make sure your cell phone is charged, your laptop, your tablet, whatever you're bringing with you, your camera. Make sure all that stuff is charged up. It'll help keep you preoccupied while you're waiting for your flight. If you have children with you, it can be very handy to have a tablet or something like that so they can play on that and stay entertained during the long wait. Also on the plane, it's helpful for kids to have those items too, just to keep them preoccupied and help pass the time. So make sure all that stuff is charged up, because it sucks to get on a plane and your laptop is dead or your tablet is dead or your phone is dead. It's just like, what am I supposed to do, especially on long flights? Of course, you can always do the thing like bring a book or a magazine or sleep. But yeah, consider that if you know you have to have your technology with you at all times, make sure all that stuff is charged up before you leave the house to head to the airport. And also bring your chargers with you, of course. That helps too. Another one is make sure your children are ready to fly. I don't have children myself, but I see it all the time where kids are just like not having it. They're not ready to get on the plane. They don't want to be on the plane. It's not a fun experience for them. It's not a fun experience for most adults either, but just make sure your kids are ready to fly. Make sure that they're fed, make sure they're changed, make sure they're in comfortable clothing as well. Yeah, try to prep your kids the best that you can. I know it's very, very hard to do that sometimes, especially when you have little ones who don't understand. If you see a parent out there who is traveling with multiple kids by themselves, or if they seem like young parents with a young baby, try to be understanding. Try try to be understanding of what they are going through. Let's talk about road trips for the holiday season. They can be very fun. They can also be very challenging as well. So it's really good to be as prepped as possible when it comes to traveling on the road during the holidays. One thing I would say before anything else is safety first. Make sure you looked over your car, whatever vehicle that you are traveling in, before you start your trip. Make sure you have a spare tire, make sure you have a car jack. A lot of newer vehicles for some reason aren't including car jacks. Some don't even include spare tires. So make sure you have those items available to you. Make sure you have a flashlight, maybe a blanket, maybe even some water, because you just never know what may happen, especially with it being cold outside. You want to be prepared as possible. So make sure you have those items. Know where they are within your vehicle. At all times. Also, if you have a membership like AAA or you have roadside assistance through your car insurance, make sure you have that phone number handy and also your member identification number handy as well, to help you out. So maybe you don't have to be the one to change the tire. You can get AAA to change the tire. But those things are very valuable. It's nice to have it. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So be prepared when it comes to safety stuff. Another thing is to plan your route. I know maps are like not really a thing anymore. Most people do not travel with maps anymore, but it is a good idea just to look through your GPS before you start actually driving. Look at the route that the GPS has planned for you and see what major highways you're going to be hitting while you're driving. Just make sure you have an idea of where you need to turn off at, where you need to exit at, before you start driving, because in a lot of places you just never know. You can hit a dead zone and your GPS may stop working and you may come upon a exit or something, and if you don't have a clue as where you're supposed to go, it could be a little tricky. So at least have an idea of the major highways that you will be using on your route to your destination. Make sure you have your playlist ready. Now this is big, just to stay entertained while on the road. Have a couple playlists ready actually, you know, for different mood sets. You know, maybe somebody in the car may like something more upbeat, some people like something a little more slower, different genres of music. Just have a playlist ready, a couple playlists ready. So make sure you have a playlist ready suitable for most people in the car to help pass the time, because it is so important to have some good tunes. Here's a few extra things I thought I would include, and these are good for whether you're flying or whether you're driving. Consider bringing earplugs with you. They can be very helpful in canceling out noise. They do take a little getting used to. Buy a package of them and bring those with you, or bring noise canceling headphones. One or the other. They can be very helpful too. Also medications. Make sure you have any of your medications handy. If you are like myself and you get car sick very easily, or just motion sickness in general, make sure you have that medication with you. Make sure you have some Dramamine with you.